Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, Dr. Mysterious. Today we are diving headfirst into the dark corners of the holiday season. Welcome to another spine-chilling episode where we unwrap the inexplicable and explore the eerie side of Christmas. Buckle up, because this is Dr. Mysterious Presence. But before we descend into the unknown, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to join our community of thrill seekers. Let's dive in. The wind howled through the skeletal branches of the ancient trees surrounding Blackwood Manor, casting eerie shadows on the freshly fallen snow. The night was silent, almost too silent, as if the very air held its breath. Christmas Eve had arrived, and the small town nestled in the wintry embrace of the mountains awaited the joyous festivities. Blackwood Manor, an imposing structure with centuries of secrets woven into its time-worn walls, stood on the outskirts of town. Once a grand estate, it had long been abandoned, its history shrouded in whispers of tragedy and mystery. As the townsfolk gathered in the warmth of their homes, none dared to venture near the foreboding mansion. Except for one brave soul, Emily, an investigative journalist fascinated by the macabre. Drawn to the chilling stories surrounding Blackwood Manor, she had decided to spend the night within its haunting walls, documenting the truth behind the legends. The town square bustled with the festive spirit as Emily approached the forsaken mansion. The towering Christmas tree in the square sparkled with lights, casting a warm glow on the snow-covered ground. The contrast between the festive scene and the foreboding manor sent shivers down her spine. Undeterred, Emily pushed open the creaking gate and made her way up the path to Blackwood Manor. The air grew colder with each step, and an unsettling hush enveloped the surroundings. She reached the imposing front door and, with trepidation, turned the rusty key she had acquired from the town's historian. Inside, the air hung heavy with the scent of aged wood and forgotten memories. Emily's breath formed frosty clouds as she explored the dimly lit hallways adorned with dusty chandeliers and faded tapestries. She felt the weight of history pressing on her shoulders, whispering stories of bygone eras and untold horrors. As midnight approached, Emily found herself in a grand hall adorned with remnants of holiday decorations from a bygone era. Dust-covered wreaths hung on the walls, and a desolate Christmas tree stood as a sentinel in the center of the room. The silence within the mansion was deafening, broken only by the echoes of Emily's cautious footsteps. She set up her equipment, determined to capture any evidence of the supernatural. As the clock struck midnight, a bone-chilling breeze swept through the hall, extinguishing the candles that lined the grand staircase. The temperature dropped, and Emily's breath quickened as an ethereal whisper echoed through the empty space. "Silent night, holy night," the ghostly voice sang, its haunting melody sending shivers down Emily's spine. The Christmas tree lights flickered to life, casting an eerie glow on the once darkened hall. The ornaments seemed to sway in time with the spectral carol, as if propelled by an unseen force. Unable to resist the lure of the mysterious voice, Emily followed its haunting melody. The ethereal carol led her through winding corridors and forgotten chambers, each step unveiling the tragic tales of Blackwood Manor's past. The mansion seemed to come alive with the echoes of joy and sorrow that resonated within its very foundations. In the heart of the manor, Emily discovered a forgotten ballroom, frozen in time. The ghostly voice grew louder, accompanied by the phantom echoes of a long-lost celebration. She witnessed apparitions twirling in elegant ballroom gowns, frozen smiles etched on their faces. It was as if the spirits trapped in Blackwood Manor were reliving the last joyful Christmas they had known. As the spectral celebration reached its crescendo, the temperature plummeted once more. Emily's breath materialized in front of her as she stood at the center of the ballroom, surrounded by the remnants of a joyous but long-forgotten holiday. The haunting voice sang the final verse, and the ballroom fell silent. The Christmas tree lights dimmed, and the apparitions faded into the shadows. Emily was left standing alone in the cold emptiness of the mansion. As dawn broke, casting a feeble light through the manor's dusty windows, Emily emerged from Blackwood Manor, her heart heavy with the weight of the spectral symphony she had witnessed. The once silent night had unfolded a tale of forgotten celebrations and lingering spirits, revealing that even in the darkest corners, the echoes of Christmas past endured, waiting to be heard by those brave enough to listen. The small town of Ravensbrook nestled at the edge of the dark and sprawling Blackwood Forest. Winter had draped its white shroud over the town, turning it into a picturesque Christmas village. But one place stood in stark contrast to the festive cheer, the abandoned Christmas tree farm at the outskirts. For years, the locals whispered about the strange occurrences that plagued the old farm. Legend had it that the land was cursed, and anyone who dared to harvest a tree from its chilling rose would befall a terrible fate. The story was passed down through generations, but the fear had dwindled over time. Until one fateful winter when a family new to Ravensbrück decided to cut down their own Christmas tree. The Hendersons, recent transplants from the city, were enchanted by the charm of Ravensbrück. Drawn to the nostalgia of a real Christmas tree, they set out for the forgotten Christmas tree farm, unaware of the ominous tales that clung to it like a winter mist. On Christmas Eve, the Hendersons bundled up in layers, the frosty air biting at their cheeks. Their breath formed clouds as they approached the dilapidated entrance of the Christmas tree farm. The entrance gate, creaking in the cold wind, welcomed them to a world frozen in time. The trees stood like silent sentinels, their skeletal branches reaching towards the heavens. The family ventured deeper into the farm, the crunching of snow beneath their boots the only sound in the desolate landscape. The air felt heavy, as if the very trees were watching, their twisted limbs weaving an unseen tapestry of warning. After much deliberation, the Hendersons chose the perfect tree, a majestic evergreen that seemed to beckon them with a silent promise of holiday cheer. Oblivious to the whispers of the wind, they cut down the tree, the echoes of the saw shattering the stillness of the forest. As they carried their prize towards the exit, a sudden gust of wind seemed to carry with it a mournful howl. The family felt a chill in their bones, but they brushed it off as a mere winter breeze. Little did they know that the legend of the cursed Christmas tree farm was about to unfold in their lives. Christmas Eve arrived, and the Hendersons adorned the tree with festive ornaments and twinkling lights. The air inside their cozy home was filled with laughter and the aroma of holiday treats. But as the clock struck midnight, a subtle unease settled over the living room. The ornaments began to sway gently, as if moved by an unseen hand. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. A distant, haunting melody echoed through the house, a tune that spoke of forgotten sorrows and whispered warnings. The Hendersons exchanged uneasy glances, but the allure of the cursed Christmas tree had already woven its spell. In the dead of night, a figure materialized at the foot of the tree. A spectral silhouette draped in tattered robes, a Christmas spirit twisted by the curse. Its eyes gleamed with a malevolent light as it raised a skeletal hand in a gesture that resembled both greeting and warning. Terrified, the family watched as the spirit circled the room, its presence casting a pall over the festive decorations. The once warm and inviting home now felt like a portal to the otherworldly. The Hendersons, unable to tear their eyes away, realized they were entangled in a curse that transcended the boundaries of folklore. The spirit spoke in a hushed whisper, recounting the tale of a family long gone, lured by the same desire for the perfect Christmas tree. Their fate, sealed by the curse, was to roam the spectral realms, warning others of the price they too would pay. The Hendersons were now part of the haunting chorus, destined to share their tale with those who dared to listen. With the first light of dawn, the spirit vanished, leaving the Hendersons in a room frozen in time. The cursed Christmas tree, now a portal to a realm between the living and the dead, stood as a somber reminder of the choices made on that fateful Christmas Eve. From that day forward, the Hendersons became the guardians of the cursed Christmas tree farm, eternally bound to the spectral cycle. The town of Ravensbrück, unaware of the family's fate, continued to whisper about the abandoned farm, its chilling legend perpetuated by those who, like the Hendersons, sought the perfect Christmas tree and found themselves entangled in a curse as old as the winter winds that swept through Blackwood Forest. In the heart of New England, nestled between snow-laden pines, stood an old cottage known as Yuletide Cottage. Its time-worn charm and rustic allure made it a coveted destination for those seeking a cozy Christmas getaway. However, as the Anderson family was about to discover, the cottage held secrets far darker than its quaint exterior suggested. The Andersons, eager to escape the hustle of city life, booked Yuletide Cottage for a quiet Christmas retreat. Sarah, a history enthusiast, was drawn to the cottage's rumored past, a tale whispered through local folklore about a family that vanished mysteriously on Christmas Eve decades ago. As they arrived at the cottage, a blanket of snow covered the surroundings, creating a serene winter wonderland. The quaint red door creaked open to welcome them, revealing an interior adorned with flickering candlelight and antique ornaments. A towering Christmas tree dominated the living room, its branches adorned with faded heirloom decorations. The Andersons settled in, their laughter echoing through the cottage as they exchanged gifts and shared tales of holiday traditions. Unbeknownst to them, the walls absorbed their merriment, as if the very essence of the cottage yearned for the joy it once held. As the night fell and the temperature dropped, the air inside Yuletide Cottage grew heavy. The once warm and inviting atmosphere took on an unsettling chill. Sarah, with her fascination for history, couldn't resist exploring the nooks and crannies of the cottage. In the dim glow of the antique lamps, Sarah stumbled upon an old photograph hidden in the attic, a portrait of the family who had disappeared on that fateful Christmas Eve. The photograph depicted a joyful scene of parents and children gathered around the very Christmas tree that now stood in the living room. A shiver ran down Sarah's spine as she realized the tree was a living relic from the family's forgotten past. Determined to unravel the mystery, Sarah delved into the local archives, unearthing newspaper clippings that told a haunting tale. The family in the photograph, the Carmichaels, had been celebrating Christmas when an unexplained event transpired, leaving no trace of their existence. Yuletide Cottage, once a place of warmth, had become a vessel for the lingering spirits of the Carmichaels. On Christmas Eve, as the clock neared midnight, the temperature within the cottage plummeted. Sarah, armed with the knowledge of the past, felt a presence that transcended time. The air seemed to vibrate with the echoes of laughter and the distant sound of carols sung by ghostly voices. The Christmas tree, adorned with memories of a bygone era, flickered as if touched by ethereal hands. Ornaments swayed, and the antique clock on the wall chimed softly, resonating with the eerie melody of the past. The living room transformed into a spectral tableau, frozen in the final moments of the Carmichaels' joyous celebration. Suddenly, the temperature dropped further, and the air thickened with a palpable sorrow. The apparitions of the Carmichael family materialized, their faces etched with both happiness and an eternal yearning. The living and the spectral were now entwined in a dance through time. The Anderson family, oblivious to the supernatural forces at play, felt an inexplicable heaviness in the room. The temperature continued to drop, and their breath materialized in the frosty air. The ghosts of the Carmichaels reached out, their spectral fingers brushing against the living. Terrified, the Andersons huddled together, unable to comprehend the ethereal phenomenon. The ghostly figures circled them, their presence evoking a sense of longing and a melancholic nostalgia for a time that could never be reclaimed. As the clock struck midnight, the temperature normalized, and the apparitions faded into the shadows. The living room returned to its quaint, albeit haunted, state. The Andersons, shaken and bewildered, were left to ponder the inexplicable events of that Christmas Eve. Yuletide Cottage, a nexus of past and present, continued to hold the echoes of the Carmichael celebration, ensuring that the spirits trapped within its walls would forever be part of the Christmas tapestry. The Andersons, though forever changed by the encounter, left the cottage, leaving behind the ghosts of a family lost in time and the chilling tale of Yuletide Cottage, a place where Christmas embraced both the living and the dead. In the quiet town of Winter Haven, where winter held the world in its icy grip, there stood an old orphanage named St. Nicholas Home. It was a place of faded memories and forgotten dreams, overshadowed by the looming presence of an abandoned chapel that stood at its heart. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones about the eerie events that transpired every Christmas Eve, events that would soon haunt the Thompson family. The Thompsons, a family new to Winter Haven, decided to make St. Nicholas Home their home. Ignorant of the tales that clung to the orphanage like frost on a windowpane, they embraced the festive spirit, decorating their new abode with tinsel and lights. On Christmas Eve, as the family gathered around the fireplace, a soft knock echoed through the hallways. The children, wide-eyed with anticipation, rushed to the door. To their surprise, they found a collection of perfectly wrapped gifts arranged on the doorstep, each adorned with a delicate silver ribbon. No note, no indication of the mysterious gift giver. The Thompsons exchanged puzzled glances but, fueled by the holiday spirit, brought the gifts inside. The children tore into the wrappings with glee, their laughter filling the room like the crackling of a warm fire. To their delight, the gifts were exquisite, antique dolls, intricate music boxes, and handcrafted ornaments. The parents marveled at the generosity of their anonymous benefactor, speculating on the possibility of a secret Santa within the tight-knit community. As the night deepened, the Thompsons settled into a peaceful slumber, unaware of the chilling events that awaited them. At the stroke of midnight, a subtle shift occurred. The air grew colder, and the temperature within the house plummeted. The children, nestled in their beds, awoke to a haunting melody that seemed to emanate from the depths of the abandoned chapel. The music, a distorted rendition of Silent Night, echoed through the hallways, accompanied by the ethereal chime of unseen bells. Curiosity overcoming fear, the Thompsons followed the ghostly melody to the chapel. The doors, which were supposed to be sealed shut, swung open with an otherworldly creak, revealing a cavernous space bathed in an eerie blue light. The Christmas tree at the altar stood frozen, its ornaments gleaming like icicles. The children, now trembling, noticed the dolls from their mysterious gifts arranged in pews, their porcelain eyes fixated on the cold void beyond the chapel's entrance. The music intensified, weaving a spectral tapestry that seemed to bridge the present with a forgotten past. Unseen hands guided the Thompsons to a dusty old book on the chapel's pulpit, a ledger chronicling the stories of the orphans who had once called St. Nicholas home their haven. As the family flipped through the pages, the chilling truth unraveled. Decades ago, an enigmatic figure named Krampus, banished for his malevolent deeds, had sought refuge in the abandoned chapel. Seeking redemption, he had left gifts for the orphans, hoping to mend the sorrow he had caused. However, the town, unaware of Krampus's change of heart, had driven him away, cursing the chapel and the gifts he left behind. Since then, every Christmas Eve, the frozen spirit of Krampus returned, bound by an otherworldly duty to gift those who now inhabited the orphanage. The Thompsons, gripped by a mix of terror and sympathy, felt the weight of the past enveloping them. The dolls, the music, the frozen tree, all were manifestations of Krampus's attempt to rewrite the legacy of St. Nicholas home. As the clock struck 1, the temperature returned to normal and the spectral presence dissipated. The chapel doors slowly closed, and the haunting melody faded into the night. The Thompsons, shaken but enlightened, gathered their belongings. In the light of the moon, they left St. Nicholas home behind, carrying the burden of a spectral Christmas that transcended time. The town of Winter Haven, still unaware of the frozen gifts left by Krampus, would continue to shroud St. Nicholas home in a chilly silence every Christmas Eve, a testament to the enduring power of a ghostly redemption sought in the heart of winter. In the isolated town of Frostvale, where winter winds howled through barren streets and ice-covered windows told tales of bitter cold, there stood an old mansion known as Winter Haven Manor. Its grandeur had long faded, replaced by an aura of desolation that clung to its imposing facade. The town's folklore whispered of the dreadful events that transpired every Christmas Eve within the icy halls of Winter Haven Manor, events that the Marsh family would soon become intimately acquainted with. The Marshes, a family of 4 seeking a quiet Christmas away from the bustling city, rented Winter Haven Manor for the holidays. Unaware of the ominous rumors that surrounded their chosen abode, they arrived with the warmth of anticipation, hoping to find solace in the quietude of Frostvale. On the eve of Christmas, as snowflakes fell gently from the obsidian sky, the Marsh family gathered in the grand living room adorned with ancient tapestries and a towering Christmas tree. The fireplace crackled with the warmth of burning logs, casting flickering shadows that danced on the walls. As the family exchanged gifts and laughter, an unexpected chill settled in the room. The temperature dropped, and the once crackling fire dimmed to a feeble glow. The Marshes exchanged uneasy glances, dismissing the discomfort as a quirk of the old mansion. As the clock approached midnight, a haunting melody echoed through the frigid halls. A music box, hidden in the recesses of Winter Haven Manor, played a melancholic tune that seemed to seep through the very walls. The Marsh family, drawn by the ethereal melody, followed it through winding corridors until they reached a forgotten parlor. In the dim light, they discovered an antique music box atop an old grand piano. Its intricate design portrayed scenes of joyous Christmases long past. As the family gathered around, the music box opened on its own accord, playing a haunting rendition of "O Holy Night." The temperature plummeted further, and the Marshes felt an otherworldly presence in the room. The atmosphere grew heavy, and their breath materialized in frosty puffs. The once vibrant Christmas tree at the center of the parlor began to sway as if moved by unseen hands. Suddenly, the room was plunged into darkness. The family, now enveloped in an inky blackness, could only hear the distant echoes of the haunting music. As their eyes adjusted, they realized they were no longer in the grand parlor of Winter Haven Manor. The air felt thick with an unnerving stillness as the Marsh family found themselves standing in a snowy village square. Antique lampposts cast a dim glow on cobblestone streets, and the facades of quaint shops stood frozen in time. The distant sound of carolers reached their ears, but the source remained unseen. In the center of the square stood a decrepit Christmas tree, its branches adorned with faded ornaments. Shadows moved beneath its boughs, and the Marshes discerned the spectral figures of children playing in the snow, their laughter echoing through the eerily quiet village. As the clock struck midnight, the village came alive with an ethereal glow. The once forgotten shops flickered with spectral lights, and the windows showcased scenes of festive revelry frozen in time. The carolers, their faces hidden beneath antique scarves, continued their haunting rendition of holiday tunes. The Marsh family, now trapped in a spectral winter village, felt the weight of a forgotten Christmas tale unfolding around them. They wandered through the frozen streets, glimpsing moments from a bygone era, a joyous celebration forever preserved in the icy embrace of time. In a moment of realization, the family understood the truth of Winterhaven Manor. The mansion existed in two realms, the desolate present and the spectral past. Every Christmas Eve, the two worlds converged, allowing those trapped in the icy echoes of time to momentarily share the warmth of holiday cheer. As the first light of dawn approached, the Marsh family found themselves back in the grand parlor of Winterhaven Manor. The antique music box had ceased its haunting melody, and the temperature returned to a semblance of normalcy. The once frozen Christmas tree stood still, its branches now bereft of the spectral presence that had animated it. The Marshes, shaken but enlightened, packed their belongings. As they left Winterhaven Manor behind, the town of Frostvale embraced the quiet once more. The spectral village beneath the ice would sleep until the next Christmas Eve, when the echoes of joy and the chill of a forgotten past would once again converge in the haunted halls of Winterhaven Manor.